Hello everybody, welcome back to the video. Today we're continuing the Q&A series with the owner of Maple County. Hello, how is your day
Hey,
going?
how's it going? It's going great, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I guess we can jump right into the questions here. Let's go into the first category here. It's game development and inspiration. So
Yeah, of
what
course.
really inspired you to make Maple County, and like how did the idea first come?
Well, first of all, I guess it started. I worked at FSRP, so Florida State Roleplay first, where I met Luke, who's the owner of CRP. We worked there for quite a bit, and then moved on from that venture, and then created CRP after that. So it was just kind of like we wanted our own game that we could do our own thing on, which was this. And then I think we've just taken it from there and have taken it our own route where we've incorporated some pretty cool updates that I'm pretty happy with.
Here is probably one of the most interesting questions on here.
Okay.
Maple County has been compared to ERLC a lot. Um,
Yeah.
how does your game differ, and what unique features set it apart?
um, I think in like difference, I mean we kind of follow the same aspect as most RP games where we have our own features. Sorry, let me start over there. Like we follow most aspects of creating an environment where players can RP in, but I think we take our where we branch off from other games with our features and interactability and stuff. So I think we've got some pretty cool systems that make Maple County unique apart from other games. I think every game in the genre has some pretty good features that kind of draw players towards it. I think we're just we focus more on like player jobs, for example, or some of our AI aspects. So which we're going to be expanding on in the future. So I think that's where we make a difference because we're kind of pivoting towards more player and AI interaction, while also keeping that player to player alive. But just kind of adding more options for people to do stuff in game than just player to player interaction.
Yes, AI is definitely one of the biggest new features that's
Yes.
being added into most of our daily life.
No. No.
So obviously, when you develop Maple County, um, are there any specific like big challenges you faced, and like how, like, if you did face any, how did you overcome them?
I think one of the biggest ones for us would be I guess sometimes it's just motivation. So the Maple County isn't like our like a lot of studios on Roblox with the bigger games. They are they're full time developers, right? For a lot of them, like that's what they do solely. They're paid to develop. With us, it's a lot of this is like a hobby for us, right? So sometimes motivation can hit a low where we don't really do much for a little bit because we're just kind of stuck on something. Um, but I think at the end of the day, we always pull through just because we have a passion for the project. So sometimes, with anything, if with a passion or a hobby, you come in and out of it. But at the end of the day, I think we have a pretty good team assembled that is motivated at the end of the day to complete updates and get them out, even though it might take longer than some other games that are on the platform.
Yes, definitely. I know you guys probably, from what I've heard, got some backlash with the summer update. By the way, very, very cool update you guys released
Thank you.
there. Um,
Yeah, we did. It was one that I predicted we'd finish way sooner, and then you know what? Things things happened, and we had to reschedule and push off. But I'm happy with what we've released. I think it's probably better than if we would have pushed it out too soon, and then it would have been a mess. So yeah.
yeah. So talking about the game features that you guys have, what feature are you most proud of in Maple County?
That's a hard one because I'm really proud with like feature wise, like the game itself. I think we've got some really unique ones. I think our fire system is really good and is just amazing, and there's room for us to add on to it. Our EMS system is amazing as well. It's always been top of the line in my opinion. Um, But as for my favorite, like I just have to say, however, the system in general would be everything in the game and how it coexists with everything. So, yeah, no, it's kind of like a cheap answer, I guess, but no, I'd say the game itself, like how the features of the main game and how everything functions, would be my favorite.
I know back when I started making ERLC content, when I started playing ERLC, they did not have as advanced of a fire department system as they have now, and even now, when I want that fire department type roleplay, I still I'll join on to Maple County, and just because
Yeah.
it's so much more realistic than
Yeah,
some of the other
that's what we aimed for with it. So,
So talking about the realism in a Roblox game, because there's obviously a cap that you can like reach on that.
yeah.
How do you keep balancing realism and like keeping players engaged? Like, how do you balance those two together?
I think it's just to take a look at what people will use more and what would make something boring. So at the end of the day, it's a game, right? And people are, logging on to have fun. So if we can take if we can take the game and make it so that it matches a realistic level that people are expecting, but also you know coexist with the actual game concept, so people can have fun while playing it. It's kind of a hard line because there's some things I would love to implement, but it's just not possible, because if we did that, then it would be too realistic. So like, for example, like I've always thought, a health system, as in like, eating and like buying food, I've always thought that would be a really cool system. But at the same time, like, just looking at it from a game perspective, it might just get in the way of kind of the arcade look at the game, where it's, you're going around chasing bad guys or that stuff. But in retrospect too, we have our private servers, where I think a feature like that might flourish more. So kind of avenues that we're looking at is just giving private servers more options to make their gameplay more realistic, while keeping the gameplay kind of that arcade, fun game to play.
Yeah, that's definitely with any type of game, no matter what the genre is, you have to balance it out between wanting people to stay and play your game and making that as realistic as possible. Because if you have a game that's as realistic to real life, and not many people, especially of the younger age, are going to want to just sit there and play a super realistic game. They're going to want to have the different type of mini games and the different type of features that make games unique and that make games want to keep you playing.
Exactly, yes.
All right, so talking about feedback and community feedback, how do you what do you take feedback from the community?
Yeah, so with our updates, a lot of them are from me or the development team will put ideas together. But I know next year, during our one of our quarters, so we have quarter 1, quarter 2, 3, and 4. We're going to look at doing an update that specifically targets what the community wants. So looking through the suggestions. I mean, it's not to say that we do look through there, but we get so many suggestions, it's very hard to implement them all. But, we're going to do an update at some point that's just going to target suggestions and incorporate what we can that would fit with our game. So, but no, the community suggestions are always an important part of any game.
So you might have kind of already touched on this next question here, or you might not want to share it, but are there any exciting updates or features that you're currently working on that you might want to share with us, or any sneak
things? So we've just kind of announced our next update, which is our criminal investigations division, or unit, whatever we're going to end up calling it. So it's going to be just a cool update that gives new belts and gear to the police officers, for the police teams, and then in our other teams. So our division, I guess, the CID is going to be a game pass that will be purchasable, that unlocks you like a new CID van, and a bunch of detective clothing, a bunch of custom gear that's just specific for the team, along with ghost variants for the vehicles. So you'll get your subdued vehicle liveries, which has been a suggestion for a very long time.
So almost like the detective type game pass, and
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. Game Passes help Roblox games quite a bit.
Yes, and we haven't released one in quite a long time, so I think it's good for us that we released one after, so we haven't released one since I think easily a couple of years ago. So yeah, I think it's important that we get one out.
I do agree with that because most games that are successful do have quite a big game passes, and some people like calling them play to win type games because they have game passes, but I don't really like.
Yeah, I think that's why we've held off for that, putting new game passes in. But I think we've kind of hit the threshold of where we have enough gameplay features, and then some gameplay features that could be, considered as, like, I like to call them DLCs, as like you would get on Steam, because we've kind of have that perfect balance between you don't need to pay to play the game. We have so many features available to you for everything, but we also need a way that supports development. Because, as you know, Roblox with their system, it is a hobby at the end of the day, but we also have to make revenue to pay our developers that work for us and put a lot of time into the game.
Yeah. Do you have any specific long-term goals for Member County? Like, for example, you guys had 1,000 players for the first time after you released your fall update / summer update. Do you have any other long-term goals that you want to see implemented into Maple County?
Eventually, we want to get more police AI calls in. SWAT is a big one that the community has been waiting on. Lots of other stuff, like there is a lot of stuff we want to get, but it will take time. And again, long term is important. So we'll have to wait and see what that entails.
Kind of going back to player engagement. Do you have any specific strategies you use to keep players coming back to your game? Like, because that's what some Roblox games struggle with, is they'll get people to come to your game once and then they'll never play it again. So
I think it's just the quality of our updates and the updates that we push out, right? I think that helps us a lot. Yeah, it's I can't really speak to what brings players back. I'd say it's just the game itself. As for, like, strategies, I mean, releasing updates is a big one. If you're releasing updates consistently that are quality, like we do, obviously ours are more over time, you will get a player base that comes back and rewards your work. For example, our last update, we passed 1,200 players for the first time. And that just shows what community is there when we do, release updates and make the game better for them.
Yeah. With the community and keeping players coming back, it can definitely be hard sometimes to get people to want to come back and play your game. Especially when you're compared to other roleplay games that might have features that you don't have.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we're getting to a point where we're getting a system ready, or a system of updates to just continuously push out content for our player base.
So this might kind of go along with what you said, but how do you plan to keep keep the community with your game as your game grows?
I think we have a really good player base that will always be with the game as long as we're pushing updates. I think creating a sense of community in our communication servers is also good, where we have people that talk to each other doing game nights or doing community events that keeps people involved and makes people feel a part of the community, so they all come back and continue playing the game. Because I think without that, it doesn't really work if you don't have that sense of community, especially with roleplay games. I don't think without that sense of community, you really don't have the audience that will continue to come back and support you.
With building a community from pretty much the ground up when you make a new game, how do you think content creators impact building your community?
I think astronomically. Like they can make the difference of an update getting no coverage at all to having extremely good coverage on multiple different platforms. I think our content creators that we always appreciate when content creators will make games on our videos on our game, because it really does boost the awareness of that we're out there. We're kind of I think really kind of second in the space, and I'd like to continue climbing, continue to keep that and climb it. But content creators have played a big role in making sure that we're out there and that people know we exist.
I agree with that. Because most games have a specific content creator or multiple content creators that make videos on their games.
Yeah, I'd say I do like streaming and stuff too with our community, but no, it's always good when we can have those big content creators, and when they come in and they join the game and they play with our player base, it always makes a huge difference. So,
do you have any advice for any new game developers who want to create something similar to Maple County or something similar to a roleplay game?
Yeah, I think it's important to make sure you're not going overboard at first. Make sure you don't overextend what you can do. I think it's important that you start small and then you continue building from up there. Because if you start too big, then you get overwhelmed and you release something that at the end of the day people don't really want to play. And I think I see that too much in the space where people have a really big ambitions, but you really have to start small and then work towards getting those ambitions done.
I definitely can agree with that. You can't just go, one or two people can't just go and make something the size of Maple County or the size of RLC, because number one, you're going to put so much time and effort into doing that, and then number two, you're going to make a huge game, and you're not going to have many people actually play it right off the
exactly, because you need to start small and make sure that you can build your player base from the ground up. And like some people have the resources to go and build a large game like that. But it's kind of important that you take baby steps to do that.
I agree with that. Last question I have for you here tonight. What has been the most rewarding part of creating and managing Maple County?
I'd say the community, 100%. The community is very supportive of what we do. They're very patient. They know that this isn't our full-time job, and they realize that, and they appreciate the updates that we push out. I'd have to say our team as well, like the team that we've built is great. They're supporting. But yeah, no, the community for sure. 100% is what I'm most proud of, and again the fact that I have a game that people play and enjoy. That's a pretty cool feeling, and I don't think, I haven't talked to any other developers of bigger games of what they feel, but it's kind of a really cool feeling that 1,200 people are playing your game at once, right? That's just and they play it continuously. That's a really cool and rewarding feeling to know that you're making something that people enjoy.
And to finally get that rewarding feeling that you made this update that you're really proud of, and you put 100%. tons and tons of work into it.
100%. It's rewarding like no other. It's a reward like no other.
Yeah. Yeah, that even happens to me. Content creating, putting a lot of work into video, and it gets good amount of views on it, and even that's rewarding. And that's
exactly right. Because when you put so much work into something and you pour hours into it, I think it's always going to be a rewarding feeling when people see that, right? So yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for coming on tonight. Again, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Okay, hope you guys did enjoy that interview. If you guys did, go on and subscribe. If you guys want to see more interviews, let me know who you want to see down in the description below. And let me know if you got anything out of this interview. I know I found out some pretty cool things about the owner of Maple County. So if you guys enjoy, like and subscribe. Join the Discord in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.